as this AI trade is playing out and the poaching that's taking place that we've been talking about and the building out of some of these apps, these learning models, what is the significance that it's a Meta that's driving some of this versus an Apple that has really been the player that is the kind of the core keystone to some of the moves higher that we had seen in previous market cycles?
Well, there's a lot to break down in there. I mean, first of all, there's this huge spend that Shay just referred to. Now Meta has done this before where they've spent billions of dollars, metaverse, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think they don't want to be left behind, and I think there is more opportunity here. But that's certainly, something to be considering. As far as Apple, Apple's been a bit, I hate to say it, but Apple is it's a growth stock that doesn't grow very much. And I think the market's kind of catching on to that. There was a period there where Apple was basically stagnant for a while. They have picked up, sales and earnings growth again. But at some level, the market's got to make the decision, is Apple a value stock, the most expensive value stock, or is it the cheapest growth stock? And right now, I think the market is kind of starting to view it more as a value stock. They have this hoard of cash that they could be doing these same free agent acquisitions that Meta is doing, literally their biggest free agent who got away, Johnny Ive, got a huge deal with OpenAI now.
Right.
So they've got this great platform where billions of us are tied into it, but they're not the innovating kind of company that they have been.
Shay, what do you think for Apple and how they have been largely regarded as missing the mark or missing the moment, at least to this point, in the AI, just the thrust forward of capital that's going towards some of these initiatives and the reception on the user side as well?
I mean, they're just not a growth company anymore. I think whoever believes that they are believes that they're going to be creating the ambient AI assistant for the world in the next 10 years. But in order to do that, you need the talent. And I think Apple has a difficult time attracting this talent. Zuckerberg, he has a reputation. Everyone wants to work with him. Same with Elon. XAI and Meta can attract AI talent that Apple just can't. And I think that might be the hurdle right now for Tim Cook maybe, and that's why they probably have to make the pivot on, we got to outsource our foundational model. Like we have to pair up with OpenAI or Perplexity because we can't solve it in-house. And the risk of falling even more behind in this AI race just isn't worth us building it internally. So I think that Apple is in kind of awkward middle ground where they're 30 times earnings, they're not growing enough, they're not having this consumer AI narrative. And I think at the end of the day, they're going to be just fine. Like we said, 2.4 billion devices worldwide.
Right.
But they're going to be a financial engineering company going forward.
And to that point, they've got the devices, they've got the hardware. How much more difficult does that then become for Meta to ensure that they also have hardware to pair with all of the artificial intelligence, generative AI, all of these features and applications that they're bringing to market as well?
So I do think that Apple's building or innovating in a old hardware world. Hardware is going to change. That's why you saw OpenAI make that splashy acquisition to get the person who created the magic behind the iPhone in-house in OpenAI. So I think that there is a risk that they might become the next Intel, because Intel was a powerhouse in the computing era. They were. Nobody thought that they would essentially go down for the next couple of decades. Apple might fall at risk because you never know what the new age of device is going to be. It's not going to be scrolling. It's going to be pure intelligence. I'm going to verbally say something. I'm getting a response, and it's going to change my action right away. I think the days of, like my grandkids, they're going to look back at me. What do you mean that you had to click an app, scroll, and type? You didn't verbalize everything? Like, I think there's a world where this change might be happening quickly. And there is a danger that if you're an Intel shareholder the last 20 years, like, the PTSD of like believing in an old narrative when the environment's moving so quickly. And this is the first time in history we have multiple super cycles happening at the same time.
Yeah.
With AI, quantum, robotics, physical AI. Physical AI is a great avenue. I don't know why Apple's not going all out at physical AI. That feels like the next derivative of their hardware innovation. Like, everything in-house is Apple. Apple phone, Apple AirPods. Like, I'm talking bad about Apple, but I use 5 of their devices. And I think physical AI is going to be as applicable in everyday life, probably $15,000 at family, and like 5 to 7 years, Apple should own that space connected to the Siri, Apple TV, etc. I think that's kind of where their North Star should be. And maybe pairing up with an Anthropic, OpenAI for their foundational model helps control their stack better for that vision. That might be the case, but Apple doesn't reveal their secrets, so everyone's just sticking their finger in the air and seeing where it blows.
We apologize to anybody's Siri who we just activated here. Shay, great to have you here on set with us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. We've got all your markets action straight ahead. Stay tuned. You're watching Market Catalysts.